What happens when the streets understand politics? What happens when anger turns into passion? What happens if everyone was woke? I'm James, and my co-host's name is Billy. Together, we're trying to figure out questions like that and more, along while ranting and raving about today's political climate. What's up, guys? It's another episode of Off Center. It's your boy James.
And I'm Billy.
And we're glad to have you. Do yourself a favor. Go to Twitter. Follow us right now at Off Center Now. Twitter. Follow us right now at Off Center Now.
200 followers.
200.
Actually, 205.
Look at us. We blow it up.
Thank you. We love all our fans. People I didn't even know listen to the podcast was like, oh, it sounds great.
That's wonderful. Mm-hmm. I'm just glad somebody listening to us. So
me too.
Sometimes I feel like I'm talking into just an empty space and like there's nobody on the other end of it. But
right.
Hey, well.
So thank you.
Hey, so today we're going to be talking about crooked politicians.
Yeah, and it's been a while since we've been on the mics, right? Feel like forever.
Yeah, it's been a minute. It definitely has been a minute. You know, there's this thing that's called work.
Yeah.
That kind of has consumed me. I don't know. What about yourself?
It's consumed most of my life.
Yeah. It's adulting.
Yeah, but I'm glad to be back.
Yeah.
Like you said, we're going to talk about some crooked politicians.
I mean, just in the spirit of this week and the shit that's been going on with your president. Well, you know I love Trump. You know I love him.
Yep, somebody got to do it.
Somebody got to love this guy.
So we're going to talk about that, and then we're going to discuss some hot topics and stuff at the end, right?
Well, it's more like, I guess, we're going to talk about the crooked politicians, then we'll talk about impeachment.
Oh, yes.
We'll dive into that.
How can I forget about that?
And we'll close with like some hot topics and that final word.
Sounds great.
All right.
So when I was first thinking about this episode, I honestly thought it would be just an episode where we just get back on the mics, we have some fun. Mm-hmm. I wasn't prepared to write anything. Mm-hmm. And I was doing some research, and I was thinking, I said, this is no game. Crooked politicians is like a serious thing. And I just started going down this rabbit hole. Mm-hmm. And I made the connection where crooked politicians make crooked decisions which cripple people like us.
Is that original?
That's original.
Oh, look at you. Yeah. I can see that. I can definitely see that. I mean, but crooked politicians is it's like America's virus. It's like it started somewhere, probably Chicago, and then just like spread across the country. And now, no matter where you're at, you get some kind of version of a crooked ass politician. Even in your, I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to say that because we got some people who are on the right that listen to us, and we want to make sure we respect everybody. But, I mean, if you look at TV, there are plenty examples of a crooked politician.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
We're in a hub of crooked politicians.
Of course, yeah. Chicago's so crooked.
Yeah.
This city is so damn crooked.
Our last 2 or 3 governors are in prison.
You know, I had a person who worked in the building beside mine. Mm-hmm. And I mentioned to him about some political aspirations in the future or what have you. And just like something just I was playing with in my mind, right? You know what I'm saying? It was a fleeting idea. It wasn't.
Because I was about to press you on that.
No, that's not, please. Anyway, I mentioned it. And he went in on just the history of Chicago's mayors and how they're connected to the mob. And look, I'm not trying to throw conspiracy theories out there. I'm just repeating what this guy told me out of nowhere. Downtown Chicago, off of Wabash, you get some characters off of Wabash. But he just began to just go in about, you don't want to be a part of this shit here, It's crooked. The mafia's in there. The mob's this. The mob kills this. The mob took out Harold Washington. Yeah, the mob took out Harold Washington.
That's a big conspiracy.
Yeah, you know what I mean? You don't want to get involved in that. If I had political aspirations, they're gone.
That's sad.
It is sad. But that, my friend, is America.
Right. And I'm actually glad that you brought that up. So I have this weird theory that this actually leads to voter suppression and other things. Like you just said, you don't even want to supposedly run for office anymore. Or maybe next time you don't want to vote because you don't like the candidates or something like that. And
You
Am
know,
I wrong?
that might be one of those stories that, you know, like, you know, when the Republicans talk about the Democrats, like if you've been watching the impeachment hearings, when the Republicans talk about the Democrats and they like, you just made up some shit.
Yeah.
That's what that sounds like. You just made up some shit.
You're accusing me of making up something.
That's what that sounds like. You just made up something.
Yeah, I did it. So, like I said, this leads to voter suppression, and I'll explain. Mm-hmm. So, if I am rigging the system, okay, continuously, mm-hmm. and I'm coming to your town and I'm saying that I'm going to do this for you and I'm going to do that, and then I don't see you again until re-election season. At that point, you've lost confidence in me. Now, imagine that times 10. After so many times of feeling that agony and feeling that lost hope, you begin to feel some type of depression, okay, when it comes to voting. So politicians have picked up on this over the years, and they play on corruption because they know that most people believe that we're corrupt anyway. So mm-hmm. we're going to just go out here, do the same thing, suppress the vote. Mm-hmm. Okay, because these people don't want to vote. They stick to their base. Okay. They don't go outside the base.
Okay.
And they win the election. That's how you get people in office that's been there since before we were born.
So you're saying they capitalize on the environment. That's a problem. The environment that they kind of created.
But I wanted to explain because it was fun.
Oh, okay. So we talk about crooked politicians so much, but we don't talk about what a politician is supposed to look like.
I agree.
Like, we have a broad example of politicians right now. You can go on TV, you can find the super angry Texan, or you can find the really nice teacher from Massachusetts, or you could find the super techie guy from California. I mean, it's so many variations, but there's a large sense of people that feel like there still isn't a politician or politicians that resemble them.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm speaking not necessarily just on representation when we're talking race, but representation when we're talking life and life experiences. So tell me about your perfect politician. What would he look like, or she?
So I'm actually glad that you asked me this question, because I think on two sides of the coin here. We should have a politician that inspires people, that get people out to vote and things like that. What I believe is that you have to, number one, find a politician that holds your values. Like, you go back to that lifestyle. We don't have to align on everything, okay? But I need you to assure me that when you're going to represent me. It's all about representation, okay? But there is no perfect candidate. When I think of a candidate, I think of someone who's human. So I want to hear how you made mistakes in life. I want to hear how, you wake up every day and you have doubts. Mm-hmm. But I also want to see how you lead. I want to feel like I can relate to you.
Absolutely.
Politicians are coming off as if they're from another planet or so. Mm-hmm. And it's baffling.
They kind of are from another planet. I mean,
yeah.
Did you get it out? Because I wanted to jump in on that one.
Go ahead, please.
Yeah, they kind of are from another planet. When you look at the politicians that we have today, most of them come from a particular background. You come from a middle class to upper class family. You go to college. Usually you go to a really good college, and you go to law school. And then next thing you know, you come out, you run for public office, and then the sky's the limit from there, right? That's usually the trajectory of the politicians that we currently have, mm-hmm. right? For the majority.
Yep.
That, for the large majority of the country, that is not how we live. That is not how we were brought up, you know? It's really hard for people to go to college. I mean, and when you look at how much it costs to go to college, that's like a huge deterrent within itself. But to piggyback on what you were saying, when you want a politician that looks like you, I completely agree. I want a politician that, missed the bill here or there. You know what I'm saying? Maybe your credit was bad a couple of years ago. You know, I need a politician that, maybe you did get locked up for selling weed on the street. Right. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. But I need to feel like there's something real about the person that's on screen representing me or going up to the White House that is speaking for me and my people. Because the versions that we're getting right now, doesn't represent that. And that sentiment is being resonated across the entire country.
Yeah, well, and
in some way or the other. You know, it might not be the same story that you and I have, being black men coming from the hood. That's our story.
Right.
But there's people who have their own individual stories out there that are looking for politicians that look like them.
Right. And that's okay to want that, you know, but to go back to the whole they're from another planet, what's very insulting is when I see politicians who come from the neighborhoods, okay, and they're asking questions like, you know, what is it in a community that they have to do, blah, like they never lived in it. Okay. Mm-hmm. So that's insulting for them to go in a community, live in it, and go into office and become corrupt and go against the same people that put you in there. That's unfortunate.
It's super unfortunate. I mean, but the system's rigged, right?
Yeah. Okay.
It's not rigged.
Yeah.
I feel like
you put me in a trick box there. It's rigged to a certain extent. I don't want to sound like Donald Trump here.
So speaking of complex statements, different views, different perspectives, it's the impeachment. One thing that is jumping out is how split we are over this guy and over whether or not we should impeach this guy. And it's to the point where they are literally distorting facts. If you watch the hearings that have been going on for the past 5 days, the first thing that you notice is there's two sides. He did it. He didn't do it. And everything that they say from that originates from those sides. There is no, I don't know.
I
it's
might
a shit
disagree
show.
with that.
It's a shit show.
I think actually they're admitting that he did do it, but there's nothing wrong with it.
They haven't even said that yet. And that would be a stronger argument if the GOP would say, hey, you know what? Yeah, he did do it. But is it impeachable? If they would go ahead and get to that question, then they would probably have a stance to actually look credible. But when you come in and the first thing you do is try to beat up the process, and then you come in and you withhold information from the process and claim that the system isn't fair. That makes little sense to me. Even if the majority, who is the Democrats, even if they decide to, you know, make rules that are in their favor, they can do that. They're in the majority. Because when you're in the majority, what do?
Make decisions.
You make decisions that benefit your side. That's part of the game. However, if you want to use the argument of fair, then you kind of have to be honorable throughout the process. You can't just be, oh, it has to be fair, and then you're playing those same dirty tricks and games.
Yeah, let's take a step back. And first of all, a lot of people is getting confused with the fact when you say impeach, that means that you want the removal of the president. Now, conviction in the Senate is part of the impeachment process. Mm-hmm. However, if you are not convicted in the Senate, you are still impeached in the House of Representatives.
Yeah.
So in history, you would be considered impeached. Mm-hmm. No president have been convicted after impeachment.
Yeah, we haven't kicked one out.
Okay.
We haven't kicked one out. Nixon, he decided to leave before he even was voted impeached in the House.
Yeah.
He just left because he knew that the majority had it.
And let's be honest, Republicans, his buddies were calling him and saying, we don't want to do this.
Right.
You need to step down.
Right, because he was caught.
Yeah, I would tell you.
Thank you for
I'd be
telling
like,
me.
James, get your ass. Step down.
They caught me.
They caught you.
They caught me. God damn it.
This is very complex, and I don't want to go down a rabbit hole with impeachment. This is very clear. This is about the president of the United States withholding military aid from Ukraine until they dug up dirt on Joe Biden. Okay? Mm-hmm. This is, am I right?
Pretty much.
All right. So now we have someone that told the story. Mm-hmm. I will refer you to the impeachment episode of Off Center so you could get the details on that.
Okay, that's a backstory now. We told y'all this was going to be long going.
So that's up to you. Right now, we've had several witnesses testify in public. Let the record show, because I have some of my Republican buddies listening. Republicans said that we need the whistleblower. We need to talk to the whistleblower. We still have not done that. All right, they said the whistleblower ought to testify in public, but they want firsthand information. If you go back to the transcript of the whistleblower stated how he basically did not have firsthand knowledge of this information.
Yeah, that's a GOP
talking point.
So they want to argue
question
from that point.
To my Republican buddies out there is, if you wanted it in first of all, you wanted it in public.